Evening, Miss Plummer. How you doing? Just thought I'd pop on here and see what everybody's up to. Hey, Papa Prepper, how you doing? I'm not very good at doing these live streams by myself, so yeah, have to bear with me on it. Good to see you too, Mrs. Prepper. So, how's everybody enjoying the new America? Uh, Howdy, Joe Morgan. So, what part of Indiana do you live in there, Papa Prepper? Just wondering because I live in southeastern Illinois. Chantilly lace and a pretty face. Uh, Howdy, howdy. Jackson County, South Central. Trying to think where that's at. Right, Joe? Yeah, me too. I mean, it was nice though. In Indiana today, I stopped at a truck stop, and for the first time, they weren't yelling at me to put on a mask or giving me dirty looks because I wasn't wearing one. Yeah, I'm not sure how much longer we're going to be free, Mrs. Plummer. The way things are going, I'm thinking we got a couple more years before we lose everything. Okay, okay, I know about where you're at then. Uh, I'm down through your area all the time, Papa Prepper. I run. I stopped doing the over the road stuff. I just do a Midwest regional. So I run the I-65 corridor and I-70, 57, stuff like that. Did you ever get your chicken coop done, Papa? It's been a pretty interesting day today. I pulled close to 700 miles and I stay back at the sticks. I don't blame you, Papa. We just live in a small little town, uh, and even at that, I mean, I've still got a bug out location that's like 20 miles from me, out in the middle of nowhere. Still working on it. Let's see. Here's one for you. Let's see it. You know, Mr. Trucker, I am what most long haul drivers call a circle jerk. What does that mean to you? Oh, okay. So you just run back and forth between the same places, and make one big circle, then, huh? Yeah, uh, we've been wanting to plant, but uh, I've been waiting because I figured we were probably still going to get another good hard frost, and the weather's calling for a hard frost down in my area tonight. So I'm kind of glad I haven't put anything out in the yard yet. You're ready to start pickling already? All of my stuff's already canned and stuck in a root cellar, so I got to plant some more so I can do some more canning. Yeah, that's what my wife was saying about the weather in our area. She said the next couple of nights is supposed to be, extremely cold and hard frost. So I'm hoping, maybe get the ground tilled up at least with this coming weekend. I mean, uh, it's been we've had so much rain in my area. My yard became a big swamp. 28 tomorrow night where Miss Plummer's at. Northern Michigan. Are you up in the UP? Yeah, it's pretty chilly here tonight. I'm over in Ohio tonight, just south of Columbus. Been canning mainly meats and soups and broths. Uh, I'm a big carnivore, so it doesn't do me no good to can my meats. Really, I mean, I, I wind up I wind up eating them anyhow. Uh, got my seedlings ready to go in the ground, but I'm still snowing 25 minutes south of the bridge. Okay, let's see. Oh, you're east of Columbus. Okay, so yeah, you're how far east? Are you over by West Virginia or what? Oh, we've got a ton of broth already canned up. So yeah, right. I mean, it'd be nice to at least get the ground tilled up, but like I said, it's been so damn muddy. My tiller sinks every time I even take it out there. So hopefully we've had a few days of decent weather, so hopefully it dried out the ground a little bit. My good news is I'm finally getting rid of everybody that's living at my house. I've been supporting everybody else for the last year and a half. It's killing me. Uh, I'd rather, oh yeah, I always prefer my kids to eat real food over com, that processed chicken nugget bowl. You know, it's like I used to do my own sausages and everything, but kind of got away from that. But the kids love those. You know. Yeah, well, the last of the people that are living with me are supposed to be taking the camper and leaving on Friday, so it'd be nice to finally get my bills back under control. I don't mind, taking care of my parents and stuff like that. Well, I don't have nothing to do with my father, but like my mom, I don't mind taking care of her, but taking care of ex in laws and all that, it's been a wear on me. All I get out here on the road is pretty much processed foods. So I, I can't very well bring glass jars out here. It's a rough ride on the truck. They'd be busted open everywhere. Well, I get home every weekend now. Uh, used to be with the last company I was with, I was home every other weekend. And the company before that, I was home every other weekend. But for years, I would be out for anywhere from a month to 3 months at a time. You miss out on a lot of things while you're out here on the road, though. I'm telling you, man, I've missed out on birthdays and holidays, and just graduations, weddings, anniversaries. You know, it was not the greatest of life driving truck. But you take it easy, Papa. Tell the missus I said hi. You might see him 4 times. I've done the. I used to drive at one time for Allied Van Lines, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of the furniture moving business. Yeah, right. Truck driving diet, eat what you can when you can, right? Oh yeah. I mean, here I'll show you what my dinner was tonight. Can of chicken. That was my dinner tonight. Uh, I didn't have time to stop and grab me nothing to eat, and uh, I don't like the restaurant that's here. It's a Denny's, and I've had bad luck with Denny's, so I'd rather eat the canned chicken. Yeah. And I carry plenty of food on the truck with me. I really don't need to eat at the truck stops, but you know, sometimes you just like a hot meal, and I can't really cook in this truck. This is a tiny little truck. I mean, she's is the sleeper on it's damn near like the old coffin sleepers. Now, I've got just enough room to stand up out of my seat here and then sit on my bed. There's no landing back here whatsoever. Now I got snacks out here. That's not a problem. Oh, Carolina Freight, damn. I haven't seen any of their trucks in a while. At least they didn't drive for Digby. Back in the '80s, Digby went broke, so now you get another company bought the company, but kept the name. Digby stood for "Did I go broke yet?" And then Digby backwards was "Yes, by God, I did." Yeah. Your family owned Carolina Freight, or just owned the truck? I used to be an owner operator, but last July I got caught in a spontaneous protest in Colorado Springs, and the protesters kind of did about $60,000 worth of damage. So the insurance company totaled out the truck, but still hasn't paid me for it yet. So there's my birthday. Uh, we don't do much anymore. That a little truck. Well, happy birthday, Diane. I won't ask your age. That's inappropriate. So, but it's good. It's good to be able to celebrate with your husband and just get out and do some stuff. And me and my wife, we're looking to get out and start doing some stuff finally because, but hell, the weather, every time we go to do anything, the weather screws us up. It'll be nice and sunny, and then we'll get ready to go camping or whatever, and all of a sudden it'll just start storming. Yeah. We wanted to go and take the kids camping last weekend out by the river, and I was going to make a video of it to kind of show people what it's like to bug out with kids who aren't really trained yet. I mean, I've been trying to work with her kids, but they have ADHD and all sorts of problems, and they don't ever want to listen. I figured it'd be a good video to make to prove to people that it will not be easy to bug out with kids if you have to, especially if they're not trained. Not so much anymore, bigger man. They've been really knocking out the lot lizard business. You know, uh, once in a while I'll get one that knock on my door, and I'll look out, see what it is, and I tell them just go away. I'm going to bed. You know, oh, it was the same old BS uh, protest about police brutality and all that bull. Well, see, you're not that old. I mean, 57, shit, I mean, that's really not that old. No, unfortunately, the 19 didn't get the lizards. They're still out here. It's just, you know, they have been cracking down on them at the truck stops and everything. The police have been getting around to them a lot more. And I ran into a situation years ago where a girl knocked on my door, soliciting, and you could tell she was underage, and she had tears in her eyes when she was asking me, if I wanted company and all that. And I told this story before, but I looked at her and I told her, I asked her, I was like, "Do you need help?" And she shook her head, yeah. So I let her into the truck, and we closed up the curtains and called the police. And just so that the people that were basically handling her didn't come knocking on the truck, we sat here and we rocked the truck back and forth, making them think that something was going on until the police showed up. You know, but she was reunited with her family. She was actually a runaway that had gotten uh, kidnapped by these people and forced into the sex trade. Should have ran their asses. Kid their asses and killed them twice, right? But you know, it turned out there was several other girls that were being handled by these people that night, and all of them got reunited with their families, and everybody that had participated in it went to jail. Even a truck driver in the lot went to jail because he basically was taking advantage of the service, and she was underage. But yeah, it was quite the ordeal. But the funny thing about it was not a damn bit of press. You know, I think it got buried somewhere on like the fourth or fifth page, and on the news it only got a slight mention. I was like, wow, really? Well, I'm still in contact with her and her family to this day. So I mean, she's uh, she's in her 30s now. Well, getting ready to go into her 30s. She's 29 now. But anyhow, she's got a kid. She's married, and basically tried to put all that stuff behind her. And I still get thank you cards from her, well, like on my birthday and stuff like that. So, the other girls that were rescued that day, I still have contact with them as well. So, it made me feel good that I could help out. That's why I'm a member of the ATA and or TAT, sorry, uh, Truckers Against Trafficking, and then I'm also a member of BACA, which is Bikers Against Child Abuse. You know, and I try to support these groups and participate in events. I mean, there was a time that I took about 6 months off just to camp out at a child's house out in the front yard so that he wouldn't be afraid of his dad coming back home and abusing him again. You know. Well, I don't exactly have the best of hearts, but I do have. I have one that has softened over the years. Just put it that way. Oh yeah, the sex trafficking is everywhere nowadays. I mean, it's not. Sorry about that. I got froze. The real media won't cover the real news. No, if they told the truth, they wouldn't get the ratings. And honestly, I think there's a lot of powerful people involved in it, so they're going to keep their mouths shut. You know, and and seeing what's going on down at our borders right now, I mean, we all know that most of these kids are being brought over here by coyotes for to be put to work in sex trade. You know, um, and the government knows that too. Well, that's why they're keeping them in the detention camps. You know, they just won't admit what's actually going on because then they would have to admit that they are wrong for doing what they're doing down at the border. I mean, there should never have been a recall of Trump's border policies whatsoever. You know, and for them to try to blame him for what's going on is just absurd because they're the ones that repealed his mandates that had basically slowed down, if not damn near stopped, all of that stuff coming across the border. We need to go ahead, finish that wall, you know, and hire more enforcement for the border. Yeah, they are. They're flying them all over the place. I mean, it. They wanted to bash Trump for kids in cages that Obama and Biden had built, and now they've got more kids in cages than what Trump ever did. It's but you ain't hearing that on the news. I mean, why was this administration so determined not to let the press in to see these uh, centers, as they're calling them? You know, they finally let some in, and they finally let reporters in. I think today or yesterday. Anyhow, and you could see that it was way overcrowded in those places. The kids are sitting back to back. Yeah, I've seen that about Bear. I I love supporting his cause. I mean, and hell, I shout out Grindstone Ministries all the time. Hello, Lori F. Lawson, I guess it is. Welcome. Yeah, I'm not a fan of anybody's policies anymore. They're all absurd. The kids will be gone just like the Clintons. Oh, the Clintons with the money in Haiti. That was a good one, Miss Plummer. Or Mr. Plummer, sorry. Oh, that was good. Yeah. Nothing disappears faster than money with politicians, except maybe kids being trafficked. You know, it's uh I don't know what the world's come to, honestly. I mean, I me and my first wife, we used to argue all the time because she was overprotective of the kids, didn't want to let them outside to play or do anything. And I kept telling her, look, they need to be kids, they need to be let outside, they need to play. If you're that worried about it, go out there and sit with them. But she didn't ever want to go out and sit with them. She wanted to sit in front of the TV. So she tried to force them to stay in the house all the time. And it was a big hassle with her. And, you know, we lived in a small little town, 700 people. Everybody knows everybody. So you try to grab a kid around our town, it's going to be damn near impossible. Especially now because I have cameras all up and down my block. I know what it's called. Stupid, no. Damn awards, right? Darwin Awards yet. Uh, don't let my kids out of my sight. Things have changed so much. No, oh yeah, things have changed since the 70s and 80s when I was growing up. I mean, it's gotten ridiculous. 4-year-old would protest. Yeah, that's the thing. That's all part of parenting. And I tried to explain that to my ex-wife. Look, you wanted kids. We have kids. They're going to want to play outside. You need to take your happy ass out there with them and do something. You know, but she never wanted to. I mean, so whenever I was at home, I'd spend all my time taking the kids out doing stuff, teaching them to do different things, teaching them to defend themselves. You know, I mean, my kids now. I mean, I brought them up. Like I said, when I came home, I would take them out in the woods. We'd go and spend the weekend out in the woods, and I'd teach them how to build fires, shelters, hunt and trap and all that stuff, so that now they could survive if they have to. Kids need to be active. They really do. The free press, journalists, individuals filming what the media won't cover. Yeah, problem is, matrix there is that we get censored on all that stuff. I mean, uh, so if you try to report anything that's real, they're gonna remove your videos. They're gonna block you, unless of course you're a liberal. Then you have free run. You can post whatever you want, say whatever you want. It don't matter. See, one of my problems with a lot of parents nowadays is they don't go out and do anything with their kids. Their kids are. Have you seen the size of some of these kids nowadays? I mean, Jesus. When I was a kid, there was hardly any heavy set kids whatsoever. You know, now, I mean, you got 8-year-olds that weigh almost 200 pounds. Got me into shooting. Yeah, I took my kids out shooting at a young age, Joe, and you know, let's see, my son was what 6, 7 years old when I took him out, and I was there right beside him and teaching him all about it. But took him out and let him get some target practice with rifles and handguns and stuff, and I walked him through all the safety of it and everything. Oh yeah. Now, see, I grew up on being bounced from family member to family member, but most of my family was farmers, and most of them were hog farmers. So I grew up, you know, on farms my entire life. I mean, I loved it, and if I had my way about it, I'd still live on a farm. Yeah, I don't even like going anywhere near a big city, but unfortunately, I have to. Yeah, the kids are the future, but unfortunately, the future's looking pretty bleak for them, especially beat the street lights, run home faster than light. Yeah. Oh yeah, either you be home when those before it got dark, and you got your ass kicked. And just it was that simple. Yeah, I homestead also. I did the same thing with my kids. I taught them how to box, wrestle, kickbox. Taught them Muay Thai, Jeet Kune Do, Taekwondo. I took all that when I was younger. I'm a black belt in Muay Thai and Jeet Kune Do, so I was able to teach a lot of what I knew to my kids. Really, we miss this plumber. My parents used to tell me those stories all the time. 10 miles uphill both ways, barefoot, no coat, in a blizzard and all that. Small town living back in the day, the best. No one. Yeah, right. I mean, that's kind of the point. Is over the last 20 years, you don't see very many kids outside playing like they did when I was growing up. Hello, not so remote Alaska. I mean, it's there's not the way things are going. There's probably not going to be much of an America left, honestly, with by the end of this administration. You know, it's scaring me for my grandkids and my kids and my great grandkids. It's driving me nuts. Uh, there was a story not that long ago about a kid who got expelled from school because he had a toy gun in his room and it was seen by his teacher on the Zoom schooling. Damn it, my kids know. Yeah, I totally disagree with the way that this generation is bringing up their kids. Yeah, Joe, I'm not afraid for me. I'm afraid for my kids and my grandkids and stuff because I see where this is going and it does not look good. I mean, I've lived a good long life. I've I've been through I've been through enough stuff in my life. I could have lived three lifetimes in my one life. So I'm not worried about me. And then we have kids. Don't need to drive 45 to get to the next three houses fast enough. Well, stupidity's running rampant all across America, Miss Plummer. I mean, it's. I'm still a firm believer that you should take the warning labels off of everything and let nature run its course. Howdy, David P. I'm doing pretty good. Not doing too bad. Uh, for kids and grandkids, they aren't tough as Wayne and I. Well, yeah, I mean, every generation it seems gets a lot softer. Like I try homestead also. I tried to get my kids to do some of the stuff that I did growing up, and they bawled their eyes out just thinking about doing the things I did. Like I raise meat rabbits, and I'll go out there, I'll grab a rabbit out of the cage and snap its neck, and start skinning it and gutting it and everything. And they seen me do that, and they started bawling their eyes out. And I tried to get them to do it, and they can't even bring themselves to hurt the rabbit or nothing. And I'm like, look, it's food. It's not a pet. You know, they want to name the rabbits and stuff. It's like, man, you know, I was I was a little kid the first time I ever killed a chicken. I was like 3, 4 years old. So I just I stepped on his neck and pulled his head off. You know, we did the chickens. Yeah, whoop, still do. I I love my rabbit. I mean, shit, that's some good eating. That's definitely true, Homestead Oz. I mean, the supermarkets have got people spoiled, you know, and the food that you get there is nasty compared to what you can grow at home. Yeah, my grandparents taught me a lot about what real life is about growing up with them. They taught me how to can, they taught me how to butcher meat. They lived through the depression era as kids, and just taught me the same ways that they'd learned their entire lives. I loved it. I mean, hell, I didn't need living with my grandparents. I didn't even know that there was such a thing as TV until I was what 8, 9 years old. They didn't have a television. They didn't even have electricity at their house. Okay, we were still living using oil lamps and stuff like that. I love that one. Lori Lori F. Lawson. Yeah, I I had some problems with my kids at Walmart one time, and I I busted their ass right in the middle of Walmart. I told them, look, you're going to act up in Walmart, you're going to get your ass beat right here. And somebody there called the cops on me, accusing me of child abuse. Yeah, a lot of people really don't know where food comes from anymore. You're right. I mean, they think that it just magically appears. Yeah, I miss my grandparents. I mean, like I said, they taught me so much about real life and how to survive. But it's just, and I loved listening to my grandparents' stories about when they were growing up, and about their lives. Really, I mean, my grandparents went through World War II, and like my grandfather on my mom's side, he was a tank driver in World War II, and he was in France and Germany and all that. Uh, yeah, right. Yeah, I still, my grandkids act up in the store. I bust their ass. My wife's kids, my stepkids, they act up in the store. I still bust their ass. I don't care. Oh, my kids growing up, if I just looked at them a certain way, they would run to their room, get in their beds, and stay there until I told them they could come out. I didn't even have to say a damn word to them because they knew that they were pissing me off and they knew they were in trouble. Kids nowadays, though, I mean, like my daughter, my oldest daughter, she doesn't really take a hand to her kids, and they moved in with us, and the kids were trying to just run roughshod over everybody, and no, it wasn't happening. She freaked out when I picked her son up and I blistered his ass and sat him in a corner, and oh, you can't do that to my kids. I go, well, if your kids are out of control in my house, I'm going to bust their ass. If you don't like it, there's the door. So, it's just, she doesn't believe in that. Now, I told her that's going to, come back to bite her in the ass, and those kids are going to wind up as jailbait. You know, right? That's true, Ed. Uh, let's see. Well, my grandparents raised me, basically. My grandparents, aunts, and uncles, Tiger, uh, because of the things that my father had done that didn't allow us children to live in that house. Yep, my house, my rules. You don't like my rules, you get the hell out of my house. And she didn't like my rules, so she wound up moving out. you know, and now her kids are running roughshod over her, and she calls me up and asks me what to do. I tell her, you got a belt, right? Got a corner, right? Whoop their ass, stand them in the corner. And unfortunately, neither of my grandparents' homes are still standing. You know, I can't go back and visit my grandparents' homes anymore. It's hell. My grandparents, when they passed away, the family kind of fell apart. Really, I mean, everybody stopped getting together for holidays and stuff. The grandparents are what holds the family together, believe it or not. You know, once the grandparents are gone, a lot of times the family just all goes their own separate little ways and don't even talk to each other for the most part. Get you just tell the grandkids or do I need to pull the grandma car straight, right? Oh, my daughter has threatened to drop her kids off with me, and for a week, and I tell her, I go, look, you drop them off with me, they won't be the same kids when you come back to pick them up. I like that, prepping plumber. That's a good one. Yeah. Unfortunately, for the people that really need the common sense right now, most of them are adults, and I think I'd probably go to jail for assault for taking them over my knee and blistering their asses. Yeah. Howdy, hoot out. Yeah. When the grandparents pass, it's just you know we still get together on Christmas Eve, uh, my siblings and I, but most of us don't get along, so we try not to spend too much time together. Yeah, I appreciate that, Hoot Out. Uh, my my oldest brother, he was the psychopath of the family. He tried to kill all of us other kids because he wanted to be an only child, and he shoved my oldest sister down 3 flights of stairs. He sat on my second oldest brother's chest forced a funnel down his throat and forced gasoline down his throat, or well, actually kerosene, which burned away part of his esophagus, and then he had to have part of his stomach removed. And tried to take my head off with a double-edged axe, locked me in a garage, set it on fire, and the only thing that saved me was some old oak doors when the garage blew up. I wish I could say the same thing about my father, but my father was the destruction of my family. Well, the problem, Tigger, is, or yeah, Tigger, is that the government stuck their hand in it, and anytime the government sticks their hands into anything, it screws it up. So, it's the government's fault, really, that kids are the way they are. I'm the youngest of 10, so my parents were older. No grandparents by the time I arrived. My mom instilled many good values in me. Never had ass whooping I didn't deserve, and deserved some that I didn't. Yeah, right. Oh man, there's so much stuff that my parents don't know that I did. If they knew it, they'd still, well, my mom would still want to whoop my ass. Yeah, when my brother set the garage on fire, see, we had an old oil fed stove, you know, and the oil tank for it was in the garage, and the line led into the house. And he locked me in there, set it on fire. Well, we were doing my parents were doing some remodeling of the house, and I was only a little guy, about 5 years old. I hid behind these oak doors that they had out there, and the garage blew up. And I mean, it they thought I was dead. They started pulling the rubble apart and everything, and found me trapped underneath a bunch of the rubble, no hair left on my head whatsoever. Uh, I deserved everything I got, and got away with more than I did. Right? I didn't get away with jack squat, especially with my grandparents. Oh my God. My grandmother on my dad's side she was what, five, not even 5 foot. She was like 4'11", and she only weighed about 80 pounds. A little Irish woman, mean as a damn rabid pit bull backed into a corner. I mean, sweetest woman you ever met until you pissed her off. I mean, I mouthed off to her one time, and because she told me to do something, and I mouthed off, and I started to run off, and she grabbed a shotgun that she kept behind the door that was loaded with rock salt and bacon rind, and shot me in the ass with it. Couldn't sit down for a couple of weeks. Oh, my brother's still pure evil. Really, we don't get along too well. Now, uh, I met my wife, my current wife, at his house, and it's kind of a long story there. I just got back from North Carolina, where I was living on the streets, living under a bridge actually, and my mom sent me a bus ticket, and I got back, and I went over there, and my mom lives with my oldest brother, and anyhow, we were drinking, and this girl and her boyfriend showed up, and which is my wife now, but her and her boyfriend showed up, and well, they were engaged, and he was going to leave, and she said she wanted to stay for a little while, and he grabbed her by the arm and told her, "You belong to me. You're my property. You're coming home with me." And that did not sit well with me. I stood up. I got in between them. I go, "You want to say that again?" And he didn't dare say it again. I go, "You need to just start kicking rocks on down the road, because if you stick around here and you grab her again like that, they ain't going to find you. You know, so he took off, and well, I was only looking for a one night stand, but apparently she fell in love that night, and I couldn't shake her ever since. You know, but yeah, now my oldest brother, every time he goes and gets drunk, I start getting texts from him. You know, she was supposed to be my woman, not yours, and stuff like that. And I just laugh about it. You know, uh, yeah, I've lived an interesting life, to say the least. And I don't know if y'all notice, I got no top teeth. They're all snapped off at the just just above the gum line. That's from a tire thumper. Somebody trying to steal my load of cigarettes that I was hauling. You know, that was a long story there. So what's everybody up to tonight besides sitting here watching me? Well, chivalry is not dead, but it's on its last leg anymore. I mean, there's not too many people that'll stand up and do what's right. Honestly, I mean, my brother, he's three times my size, and he didn't bother to stand up and get between her and her fiance. I mean, and that says something about him himself, really. I mean, I can't sit by and watch anybody get abused, or somebody talking about they own somebody or anything like that. That no, that doesn't sit well with me. Hopefully, you're somewhere where it's actually going to be nice to plant there, Tigger, because we're supposed to have hard frost the next couple of nights where I live. I'm actually pretty glad I didn't get my plants in the ground right now, because they'd wind up dead. Solar is very expensive. Let me tell you, we put in solar out at our bug out location. Now, granted, we are doing a rather large solar field, basically, because it's we've got a group of 300 total in my mag, and we're all going to be at the same bug out location. And it so far it's cost us a little over $26,000 for the solar to be put in there. And she, luckily, we have a mag treasury, so the money comes out of there. Everybody in the mag every month donates a minimum of $50 into the treasury, and we use that money to build up the bug out location. We've built a bunkhouse, pole barn bunkhouse out there. We've built several small sheds out there, and we've got some grain bins, which we're currently in the process of filling. Uh, and just we do little improvements here and there when we get the money built up. We're still putting a fence around the property. I did put my carrot seeds. Oh, I got a bunch of. Actually, I showed some of them when I was home. I just showed a small portion of the seeds that we've already started, and we've started everything from tomatoes to cucumbers, zucchinis, broccoli, carrots, onions, okra. Geez, what else? Green beans. I mean, we're going full out this year. Going to see just how good of a gardener my wife can be, because she's going to be the one taking care of the garden while I'm out on the road. Now, last year we planted a small garden, but we were both out here on the road, and we were out for 2 weeks at a time. So we come home, and the rabbits had decimated the garden, and what they didn't eat was got choked out by weeds. I mean, we still got some crop out of what we'd planted, but nowhere near what we should. Ooh, Wisconsin. Yeah, I can understand why you haven't really started. Although it should be warming up here before long, so I would definitely start my seeds. Oh, excuse me. I would definitely start my seeds up in Wisconsin. Probably would have started them a week or so ago, just so that within the next few weeks you'd be able to transplant them into the ground. You say I've got a green thumb, but I'm not home that often to you know actually tend to the garden. I'm home on the weekends, so I'm trying to teach my wife how to garden. She's never done it before. She uh, she was raised in more of a city girl lifestyle, so 100 or 1600. That's not bad. I mean, yeah. Now see, our we have enough power from the solar to really power pretty much everything out there. We're building some wind turbines, and we're also we're debating on whether or not to do the hydro, because we do have a stream that runs through there, and it constantly has water in on the property running through the stream. But I'm not sure whether or not we would need to build a little dam to build up the water more, to turn the water wheel to get the hydro working or not. Yeah, I wouldn't wait till next week. Actually, I'd start now, if you can, on the starting your seeds, because you know I generally let mine grow at least a month in the house before I transplant them out to the ground. And it in Wisconsin, by the end of April, you should be about ready to plant. So let's see if I missed anything here. Now, not so remote Alaska, are you looking to power your entire home or just a few small appliances? I mean, 1600, that's not going to get you but a few solar panels and a couple of batteries, really, and maybe an inverter. Usually plant after Memorial Day. Okay. Well, you're more familiar with Wisconsin than I am, so I mean, but I would assume by the end of next month it would, by the end of April, it would be good planting. Got my seeds started. Some just got done this past weekend. Spreading 3 yards of mushroom compost. Lush soil is about 3.5 pH, so sandy here. Well, yeah, North and South Carolina are both really sandy areas, and the pH isn't all that good there. Started clearing land to build your cabin. How big are you gonna make your cabin? Uh, and how much land? uh, clearing the land's a pain. Let me tell you. I mean, when we bought our property, it had an old rundown house on it, but there was a lot of trees that were overgrown and everything that we had to clear out. We tore the house down, discovered a fallout bunker that was built back in the 50s. Uh, we didn't even know it was there. 24 by 30, so not a very big cabin. Just how many people are going to be in the cabin? Just you, or you and your wife, or you got kids that are going to be there? What? Okay, Lorith. Okay, Well, it shows up as Lori F, so that's what I've been calling you. Sorry about that. Uh, 9.5 acres, just two people. Okay, two people, that shouldn't be too bad. Um, Now, are you going to have an indoor plumbing in that, or are you going to build an outhouse or what? I mean, we put in several septic tanks out at our bug out location, and we have a big cess pond for the water runoff from it. Boy, it's getting notifications left and right. Everybody's going live. Now, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you and your husband? I mean, you don't have to tell me, but because the older you are, the worse it gets out there. Outhouse for now, but we will have indoor plumbing. Okay. Now, your land, is it hooked into the city, or are you far out in the country like we are? I mean, live in a 12 by 50 mobile home. It's totally doable. Well, yeah. Well, that's still young enough to get things done. It's for 300-watt panel, two batteries, inverter, and charge controller, breaker box, breakers. Just getting started. Well, and as I can. Yeah, that's the problem. Is it just costs so much to put in solar power. That's why this BS about it. They're wanting to go green on everything. Who's going to pay for all that? I say that's the way I like it. Is totally off grid. Now, are you going to dig a well, or is there a well already drilled there? I mean, drilling a well is pretty expensive. Now, when we bought our property, it had two wells on the property already, and both of them are fed by an artesian spring. So it's a natural spring well. So there's constantly, you you know, we've spent weekends out there with our mag, and there'd be a couple of hundred people, and we'd still not even drop the water level in our wells whatsoever. The water is actually a sweet water. It tastes has a sweet taste to it, but it's pretty good. We had it tested uh, and compared it to the city water, and it's a hell of a lot better than that damn city water. And say I live in a mobile home myself. I mean, you buy what you can. I mean, right now I live in a 14 by 70 mobile home, but all of my money's been going to our bug out location anyhow. I mean, there's a lot of work I need to do on our house, actually. Have to dig a well. We have a spring, rainwater system set up. Yeah, you definitely want that well, because the rainwater catchment system may not be sufficient. I mean, we've done that before, and it couldn't provide enough water for everybody. Yeah, but depending on how far down that water table is, I mean, I've seen people have to drill damn near a half mile just to get the water. Luckily, like I said, our wells were already there when we bought the property. I'm going to have to get off of here shortly. I got to get up early in the morning, pick up a load of beer. I think everybody's switching over to everybody else's live streams right now, anyhow. Yeah. Lord, I've been sitting in the seat for 16 hours already. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Uh, Got to get my butt to bed. I got to get up early in the morning. I enjoyed everybody stopping in, saying hi, chatting a little bit. You know, that's what I enjoy about this is get to talk to other people, exchange ideas and stuff. I mean, not everybody knows everything, and everybody can help each other out. You know, there's still a lot of stuff I don't know. You know, I mean, yeah, I'm good at survival and I'm good at gardening and stuff, but I mean, there's still tons of stuff that I would love to learn. So, $10,000 for the well, yeah, that's about right. I enjoyed it talking to each and every one of you. I appreciate you guys subscribing and coming and sitting and listening to an old man rant and rave. You know, but I hope everybody has a good night. Oh, I've been watching what's going on with Russia. Definitely been watching that, as well as what's going on with Taiwan and China and North Korea as well. I don't know if you've watched my video that I uploaded tonight, but I talk about some of that in there. You might want to go check out that video because I honestly think that we're headed toward World War III. So, but I'm going to get out of here. You all have a good night. Stay safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, but there's not a lot I wouldn't do anyhow. So, I mean, yeah, y'all are pretty safe there. But I appreciate y'all. You all have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.